Hello, this is Cryptolyze. I hope you are well. This Monday, January 8, 2024, we meet today to talk about ETH, the crypto of Ethereum. So, as usual, we're going to break this video down into two parts. In the basic part, we're going to go back over what ETH is and what Ethereum is. Above all, we're going to talk about what's going on with Ethereum because we've got the 2024 roadmap, and you'll see that there's been a lot of movement. Then we'll take a look at the charts for buying and selling prices, short, medium, and long term, and we'll get started right away. If you don't know what Ethereum is, you're probably starting out in crypto. So we're going to take a very quick look at what Ethereum is. Ethereum is a level 1 blockchain. The goal of a level 1 blockchain is to make pieces of code and blocks available to developers to be able to build decentralized applications. Principle of Ethereum is the construction of smart contracts. Smart contracts are intelligent contracts that are pieces of code that activate and regulate how transactional flows are carried out on the blockchain. Concretely, if I have to give you an example, a smart contract will replace your banker. It will replace your insurer. Overall, it is a trusted third party. To give you another example, if I ever want to sell a book and someone wants to buy this book from me, I don't need to go through a platform that has a trusted third party. I can put a smart contract in which it will determine that the person will receive 10 euros when I collect the book. This is exactly what smart contracts are all about. And therefore, Ethereum is a decentralized, shared computer in which we can make code available, which is self-managed. This is the principle, and this is the strength of Ethereum. It is the first blockchain to have truly democratized the notion of smart contract. Not to say invented. To be able to do this, they created code called Solidity, which is a new programming language which allowed them to be able to release many things, in particular the whole notion of decentralized finance, the notion of DeFi, of which we speak regularly on the chain, which allows transactions to be made in a completely decentralized way, without going through trusted third parties. They went even further because they invented the notion of NFT. More than just a picture of a monkey, NFTs are really the notion of tokenization, the uniqueness of something on the internet. They went even further than that. They created soulbound tokens, which are the same thing as NFTs, except that you can assign a soulbound token to someone like him withdrawn. All of these are in fact elements that are used by developers to build decentralized applications, which will be useful in everyday life. This is the very principle. The goal of Ethereum and the goal of any blockchain is not to build a utility for you, but for the developers who will build an application that will ultimately have a utility for you. It really is this principle, and Ethereum is the leader in the field and regularly offers breakout points. That means that they advance in their technology, and each time they advance in their technology and they make a breakthrough, it totally changes the ecosystem. NFTs led to the end of bullrun 2021, not for nothing. Decentralized finance, the beginning of bullrun 2021 and the end of 2020. There you go. We are really in an ecosystem that is changing. And what's more, we had the roadmap here. So we're going to take a little time to go over, because it's a roadmap which is relatively dense. We still have a lot of stages, but these are not stages in which we do the one, then we move on to the other, and so on. So yes, but not completely, because everything is actually progressing little by little. You can see that the boxes are filled little by little, because there are several teams working on each of the branches, and then we move on to the next branch and so on. Same principle, we did the merge. The merge, which is the transition from the Ethereum blockchain proof of work to proof of stake. This means that we are no longer mining. We have switched to a form of staking, and which mainly allows us to have a return between 3 and 3.5 depending on what we do to be able to secure the blockchain. By holding Ethereum, if we stack them, or if we use a protocol that allows them to be stacked like Lido, we recover a return just by owning these ethers, because the ethers will be made available to the network to be able to validate the different transactions. What is interesting to see is that at the level of the merge, we finish the merge. But in fact, no, because there is the whole part linked to decentralization which is put in place, the notion of staking, the notion of specifications, which are still pending with in particular the SSF, which is very important to be able to complete the notion of finality. So overall, everything is not finished, but we are moving forward on everything, and it is impressive to see how quickly they are moving forward. We have the impression that things are not moving at the level of Ethereum because the price is stagnating. Yes, since the merge, we do not have the impression of having had much news. Except that, in fact, everything is evolving at the same time, and that's what's important. And that's what's interesting to see, that in particular the surge, which is the next big step that we want, and which is in fact awaited a lot by the role P, when we talk about optimism, when we talk about arbitrum, when we talk about the ZK rollup that we could have, like, for example, Polygon, the ZK rollup of Polygon. Whether it is Starknet, all these technologies in fact are waiting for the surge to be able to reduce their costs transaction. And this is the very principle. It is to be able to reduce transaction fees. So for me, the big news that we will certainly have in 2024 will be the launch of the surge, which will make it possible to divide transaction fees almost by 10 or even by 100, not on Ethereum, but on the different role P. The goal of having role P, the goal of having an overlay on Ethereum, is to be able to have a maximum of transactions per second and above all at low cost. As long as we cannot have it, the usefulness inevitably decreases drastically. So it's always cheaper to use Arbitrum or Optimism than Ethereum. As a reminder, when you're in the middle of a bull run, a swap is 150 euros in fees. Obviously, it hurts very, very badly. While on Arbitrum and Optimism, I think we will be around $1 to $2, even in the middle of a bull run. So we are in something that is still expensive, the goal being to arrive at something very affordable, with transaction fees that are around 1 cent or even less, and that's the surge. For me, what is really important to see is that we are making progress on everything, on count abstraction the same, which is making great progress, the notion of separating from these 32 ethers to create a validation node. Then there are several solutions that are being considered. We have the decentralized solution of agglomeration, of validator. What does that mean? That means that, for example, I have 0.5 ether. I'm going to put myself in a shared pool in which we're going to put together to be able to validate these 32 ethers together and create a node. This is being implemented. It's not yet sufficient for my taste, but I think we are moving towards the right thing. And that will facilitate decentralization, because the problem is that, at the moment, to have a validation node, you have to have 32 ethers, or go through controlled pools like Lido, in which there is still a form of centralization that is in place, and other solutions are needed. And I think that we are working on these solutions. Same on mass adoption, account abstraction, the fact of not asking the question of maintaining and keeping your keywords, keeping your seed, the fact of having solutions integrated into the blockchain, automation of his account and recovering his key will be essential in the notion of mass adoption. And for me, the biggest part will really be the purge and the splurge, which will be really very important, and which will be the most complicated. Understand that the purge is really the notion of overhauling the entire technical stack that is available. And that's a monumental job. All developers understand what I'm talking about. The fact of eliminating technical debt is just huge, because we have to understand that, in the meantime, we will have the scourge, the splurg, the verge before arriving at that. So we will have a techniques which will be colossal, and there will be monumental work to be able to gain performance. And there, when we have this zone, I think we will really have a technological breakthrough that will happen, and that's a bit of what I'm aiming for on my side. Because when we actually break technical debt, it implies that we are entering a phase of hyper-innovation, and in which we amplify everything that has been done before. The complexity will be being able to maintain all the functionalities during this transformation phase, and this is where it will be really critical. But nevertheless, this is where we will find, I think, a big acceleration for me. On the other hand, we shouldn't expect it for another 5, 6, 7, 8 years, maybe even 10. In any case, things are moving very, very fast, much faster than expected, despite the fact that, yes, the merge has been awaited for a very, very long time, but that doesn't stop everything else from moving forward very quickly, and that's quite positive for the Ethereum ecosystem. We are going to attack the technical part, in which we classically finished 5 waves Eliotist, the ABC retracement which was carried out. We set the low here on 12 September 2022, rather classic, in which we had a big acceleration upstream in August 2022 for the preparation of the merge. So on the other hand, the low was set in June 2022 with the break of Celsius. We did the acceleration in preparation of the merge by the rumor, sell the news, classic, in which we then set up a range which is very strong, a range which was broken with the breakup of the 2000, in which we are establishing a very strong support, which is the 2150. As long as we have it, it implies that the next step will be the 3500. If we ever return inside, That means that we will immediately go and retest the 1,500, 1,600, and it will play a lot with the news of BTC around the validation of the ETF. Yes or no, are we going to have an injection of liquidity which will push the market up? Or are we going to have a sell the news which will push it down, okay? So there we could very well be in a liquidity situation. Rework in this area. Retest the 1,675, 1,700 before starting to rise again more aggressively. We would in fact maintain the upward trend. The highs would always be higher and higher, and therefore we would keep this low there to be able to start rising again. In any case, what's certain is that Ethereum has underperformed BTC throughout this 2023 phase, and we're expecting a lot from 2024. Personally, I'm expecting a lot from Ethereum in 2024 to 2025, as I believe it's one of the assets that will perform best in the big market caps. Remember that it's number 2 in cryptos, and for me, the big targets will be in a big wave 1, wave 2, and we're preparing for the big wave 3. Wave 3. First target at 8,687 for ETH, and second target. Look here for 13,500 for Ethereum. So really big targets because alongside we also have a token which is deflationary, thanks to the implementation of the merge, therefore the transition to proof of stake with the different EIPs which allow us to have burning with each transaction. The more transactions we have, the more we will have a number of ethers on a maximum market supply which will decrease. And that's really important. It's that we have a concentration of value. This does not mean that we will have a drastic increase in the market cap, but in any case, the value specific to each ether will be concentrated little by little to move towards a market cap for me of 100 million, which would be consistent in relation to the evolution of all transactions, to the implementation of the reduction in fees linked to Roll P, so we have all that in mind. In any case, Ethereum remains one of the precursor elements of the notion of decentralized finance. We must not forget it, and it is still thanks to them currently that we have technological breakthroughs, the main big disruptions, that it was Ethereum that carried them out. Why would that change? Especially since the team is still working and things are progressing very quickly. I hope you liked this video. If so, don't forget to leave me a like and a comment. I'm happy to read you, and above all, it supports the work I do. If you are not prepared for this bull run, don't forget you have a concise 30-page investment guide to explain to you when to buy, when to sell, how to manage this psychological part which will be complicated in the bull run part. It's free, it's available in comments, descriptions, and we'll see you tomorrow.